The latest Overwatch patch is now available for testing on the PTR, and includes nerfs to Brigitte and Doomfist, as well as buffs for Bastien, Torbjorn and McCree, plus a new change to Soldier 76. So let's quickly run down what's new, and then take a look at how these changes will impact the game. Brigitte's shield bash has been nerfed. It will no longer travel or stun targets through barriers. Doomfist received two nerfs. The first is to Rising Uppercut. Previously, it would cause those hit by it to lose control of their characters while in the air for up to 3 seconds. However, that has now been reduced to 0.6 of a second. His Seismic Slam has also had its maximum range reduced. Bastien's ammo pool while in his recon mode has been increased from 25 to 35, and his weapon spread while in sentry mode will now slowly reduce to a maximum of 33%, making it more effective at long range. McCree's Fan the Hammer damage has been buffed from 45 per bullet to 55. Torbjorn's new ultimate damage has been buffed from 130 damage per second to 160, and Soldier 76's Helix rockets will no longer auto-target enemies while in tactical visor. And finally, you will also now have Overwatch League away skins for any regular Overwatch League skins that you own. The biggest change in this patch is the nerf to Brigitte, and this is potentially meta shifting. Brigitte has received a nerf in nearly every patch since her release, but this will probably be the most impactful. With her shield bash no longer working through barriers, she will not be able to do things like stun enemy Reinhardts, something that has become a major point of frustration for a lot of main tank players. However, she should still be able to deal with flanking Genjis and Tracers just as well as she always has. What will be interesting is how well she now counters dive compositions. Previously, Brigitte was very effective at being able to interrupt the incoming dive, but with Winston barriers now causing her trouble, this could make things more tricky. The other interesting point is that this now causes some inconsistency, as other abilities based in movement, like Doomfist's Rocket Punch, will still penetrate barriers, and some complaints have been raised around this. However, I don't think it's very likely that we're going to see changes across the board here, as that would also mean things like Reinhardt's Charge or Genji's Dash wouldn't work through barriers. And then where do you draw the line? What about Diva's boosters and Hammer's swinging? Both cause knockbacks when they hit through a shield. Should they be blocked as well? Overwatch already has quite a bit of inconsistency. For example, Junkrat can't damage himself, but Pharah, Diva and Ashe can. If the game's balance warrants it, then changes will happen. Otherwise, this is just one more in a long list of inconsistencies currently in the game. Doomfist's Rocket Punch might still work through barriers, but he still got hit with a couple of nerfs in this patch. The change to Uppercut reduced the amount of time that you lose control of your character for after being hit by it. This change has been made for a similar reason to Brigitte's nerf, to reduce the frustration of players. There has been a rising number of complaints in the community about the number of stuns, knockbacks, and abilities that take away control of your character rising over the last year, and this patch is targeting two of the main culprits, Brigitte and Doomfist. This change will still let Doomfist players line up the next attack, but it doesn't leave you completely useless while in the air. Previously, Doomfist could just juggle players around, and there was little you could do. This should help to rectify that. The second nerf was to the range of Seismic Slam. This change is smaller, but should make him less mobile and easier to kill as he engages with a fight or runs away from one. Bastien's changes are both buffs that make him stronger at what he's already good at, but don't really shore up any of his weaknesses. They will likely make him a better pick in situations where he's already strong, like on Junkertown Attack, but you still won't see him on many other maps. He's a tricky hero to balance, as at low ranks he can be very oppressive, while at higher ranks he can be an easy target for a coordinated attack. It's unlikely these changes will make much difference in the meta, and it's beginning to look like Bastien might be the next target of a rework to help him fit back into the game. McCree received a buff to the damage of Fan the Hammer, increasing each bullet's damage from 45 to 55. This is intended to make it a more reliable option against higher health heroes. Fan the Hammer, Combat Roll and Fan the Hammer again will now hit for a possible total of 660 rather than 540, plus an additional 25 damage from Flashbang. This should allow McCree to become more of a tank buster at close range. It also shifts the number of impacts he needs to get a kill on a 200 HP hero from 5 to 4, improving his odds in those fights. Buffing McCree's close range damage is likely a response to the addition of Ashe, who performs a similar role but is more focused on the medium to long range encounters. Hopefully this will be enough to stop McCree from being overshadowed. The damage of Torbjorn's ultimate was buffed from 130 per second to 160 for those standing in the lava. It still remains a fairly weak ultimate that's only really any good in specific situations. This should make it slightly more effective, but it's likely that we'll see more changes to Torbjorn over the coming months, as Blizzard try to get his balance right in his newly reworked state. Finally, a change to Soldier 76 slipped into the patch that wasn't detailed properly in the patch notes. His Helix rockets will no longer auto-aim when using his Tactical Visor ultimate. The reason for this change is that previously you were unable to aim the Helix rocket while using the ultimate, and although it would auto-aim enough to hit a target who's up close and personal, or standing still, you had no chance of hitting a moving target at long range as you couldn't aim the shot. Now you're able to aim the rocket the same way as always, while the auto-aim takes care of the primary fire. Effectively, this is a buff, provided you're any good at landing Helix rockets. If you're not, you might find it feels more like a nerf when trying to take out a target at close range. It's honestly a very weird change. Perhaps making the rockets heat-seeking while using Tactical Visor could be something that they look at in the future. Is this the final nerf for Brigitte, or will she get more? Is Doomfist less frustrating, and will Bastien and McCree become more popular? Let me know in the comments below. As always, this is James for Chaos, saying thanks for watching, and enjoy the game.